So in today's video, we are going to be going over how we can add LoRAs, like this Murano glass style. I may be mispronouncing Murano, but we are going to see how we can apply them within ComfyUI, and we're also going to try this dark Ghibli style. Both of these are sdxl LoRAs, so we're going to be applying them to an sdxl model that generally doesn't make images like this, and it's going to be able to generate images like this using the LoRAs. Before we hop into ComfyUI and start making our workflow, I want to go over exactly what LoRAs are because they are incredibly powerful and they will keep showing up as you're dealing with AI. Whether you're dealing with images, LLMs, whatever it is, LoRAs are probably going to be involved. And let's assume we have a model first. And this model is going to be image generation because that's what we're working with right now. And we're actually going to be using sdxl specifically in this video. And this model is going to be trained using paired inputs of text and images. So it's going to try to generate images based on this text, and it's going to have its weights working with the text. And then after it's generated, it's going to compare these images with the source images, and then it's going to backpropagate that information through its weights and readjust them so that it can adjust and make images that are closer to what we want it to look like. But this requires updating the entire model, and that takes a lot of energy. So one of the ways we can tone that down a bit is we can split the model and freeze it, and then we create a new smaller array of neurons, artificial neurons, basically vectors, that's going to slot directly into the model. And then we just do our training again, but these models are frozen. Right here, the model is actually frozen. Our LoRa is going to be the only thing that's adjusted when we backpropagate. So training goes the same, but when we backpropagate, we're only adjusting this, and that ends up requiring a lot less resources on your computer, and it gives you a few pretty cool features. Number one, we can still generate images with it. We put the whole model together, we use the LoRa just like it is, and we have images. But if we go back, our model is still the same. So we can take the LoRa in, out, we don't have to load an entire checkpoint in. And there's one really cool feature. If we have another checkpoint that's trained on the same model, so suppose we have sdxl that we're training on, and then we have a different sdxl checkpoint, we can swap that model in and still put the same LoRa in it, which is a really cool feature because it opens up a pile of doors. Like one of the examples I really like is, let's suppose we have a monster that we want to generate, but we only have anime images of that monster. Well, we can find ourselves an anime checkpoint that generates anime images and then go through this process again. We split the model, put the LoRa in, train it, and then we have a LoRa trained to generate that anime monster on an anime LoRa. I'm sorry, on an anime model. But then we go and take that same LoRa and put it in a realistic model, and now it's going to generate that same monster, but generated in a realistic style, because these weights are what's controlling the realism or the anime-ness of the model. And of course, this is one example. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. There's a science and an art to working with LoRas, but let's start getting into it and see how we can take models that someone else made and then add a LoRa that we find on Civid AI, TensorArt, wherever you're finding your LoRas, and apply it in ComfyUI. The first thing that's really important is you're going to want to go to where you have ComfyUI and make sure you have your LoRas in the right place. So once you're in your ComfyUI directory, you're going to come over to Models and then click LoRas. And here you can see I have two sdxl LoRas, and also I don't really want them mixed in with all my other LoRas when I start getting more. So I'm going to make another folder and call it sdxl and move those in. And when you download these, they are probably not going to be coming here. You're going to need to take them from your download file and put them into your LoRa's folder manually. But once you have that, now you are ready to hop into ComfyUI and get started. So now that we know that we have our LoRa's in the right place, we can start changing our ComfyUI workflow to work with our LoRa's. And right now we have the standard workflow that appears in ComfyUI that has the checkpoint, two clip text encoders, an empty latent image, a case sampler, VAE decoder, which passes it to save image, or you can change that to preview image, your choice. And we are going to start making changes. So the first thing we want to do is change this from pruned EMMA only, which is SD 1.5, to an SDXL model that will work with our LoRAs because they are SDXL LoRAs. And then I'm going to move that up here just so that we can see these little lines a little better. And I'm going to change the empty latent image to 1024 by 1024 because that is the default for SDXL. It will still work at 512 by 512, but this works a little better for these SDXL models. Then I'm going to delete these clip nodes and the model node because we can't pass it directly here. We need to run it through the LoRa. So we're going to come over here to loader, load LoRa, and we can see both of our models, even though they are in the SDXL folder, that folder is within our LoRas, so they're appearing here. And I will start with this dark Ghibli one, and then we pass our model, and then we pass the clip. And now here we have a new model in clip, which we can pass over here, and we're going to be changing the model weight according to this strength model, with 1 being the default, and then you can put it lower or higher, and clip according to the strength clip. So let's connect to those. And of course, not every LoRa is going to change both the model and the clip, but a lot of them will. So it's important to connect both. You can try running it this way, but it's up to you. Just fun to experiment. But I'm going to show you guys something. If I try to put a, I'm going to put a hunter in the forest, and I'm going to switch this to fixed just so we can see. And I'm going to say 1, 2, 3. If we generate this, we are not going to be getting this dark Ghibli style. So what's going on here? We can see that it generated a totally normal looking hunter. And it's not that our LoRa wasn't loaded. It is in fact being loaded. So what went wrong? So when you make a LoRa like this, it's common practice to put something at the start of your prompt so that every single image pair you have in your dataset has that same string. And then the AI is going to learn, oh, okay, when I see this string, I'm going to use this LoRa. And then in most of the places where they upload these LoRas, like here we're in Civet AI, we can see here trigger words. And trigger words, we can copy what they are using as their trigger. And then that'll tell the AI to use the LoRa. So now back in ComfyUI, I can come right over here to our positive clip text encoder, and I am just going to add that right at the start and put a comma after it in space. And now I am going to regenerate, and it should actually use this LoRa now, because the AI knows, okay, you want me to use this LoRa. So now if we zoom in, we can see it is actually doing the Ghibli style with, I don't really know what this character is. I don't know too much about these styles, but we can see it's definitely like an anime-esque type of style, so that's kind of cool. To show you guys, I'm going to repeat the process. We're going to come over here and we're going to swap to Murano glass style, and we have, of course, we're using the same prompt on all of these. So the only thing that's changing is the LoRa, and then we're also going to need to change the trigger. So let's come over here and grab the other trigger from the Murano glass style, come back over here, and I'm just going to swap that out from the Studio Ghibli style, and now we're using Murano glass style and a hunter in the forest. And let's try regenerating that and see how this new LoRa works. And there we go. Now we have a new hunter in the forest, and it's a glass. I mean, there's not really a forest. The style did away with the forest, but he clearly has like an animal with him. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Although it seems like it couldn't decide if he has a fishing pole or a rifle, but still, it definitely worked. So now let's go on to what's more important. How do we add multiple LoRa's? Because this is where we can start really styling and getting things to look exactly how we want. So adding another LoRa is actually really easy. All we're going to do is we're going to drag this LoRa down a little bit, delete these two lines, delete, and then we are going to add another loader, and we're going to load LoRa, and we're going to swap this to our new LoRa that we want. We already have Murano, we have Dark Ghibli, and it's actually defaulted to that. And we're going to connect the model, clip, and then the model, and clip. And in my experience, I've worked with LoRa's quite a bit. It does not matter which one we load first. It's going to just pass it in, and you're stacking the vectors. They are linear, so it means that, it's like addition. It doesn't matter what order you do it in too much. So now we can add in our new prompt, which is going to be Studio Ghibli Fairy Tale. So you're going to need to do both triggers for both LoRa's. And then let's hop over here and see what it looks like when we generate using both of the LoRa's. So we have this for exclusively Murano glass style. And there we have it. We have a hunter in the forest. I dragged this over. And he has a little more of like an anime-esque deer. He has a bow, some flowers, and there's actually a forest now, so that's pretty cool. But so we are definitely using both LoRa's, so that's pretty cool. But how can we modify this a little bit more? What are some things that we could still do? So the easiest way for us to start adjusting the behavior of these LoRa's is to come over here to where we're loading the LoRa, and we can change the strength of the model. So we can set this to like 0.5, and now when we're adding these weights from the LoRa into this model, it's going to only have half the weight. So it's going to make less of an adjustment to our model. Or if we raise it, say 1.5, not 15, 1.5, it will be slightly more of an adjustment to the model, and you're going to want to stay somewhat in a valid range. Sometimes you can go negative, but the LoRa may or may not work well for that. It's good to test them out. And then you can also adjust the strength clip. And clip is going to be a little bit different from how we are adjusting model, but that it's not really going to change the look of what we're generating. It's going to change the way that we're interpreting text within our clip text encoder. So that's going to change the meaning of words. And this is particularly useful if the LoRa brings in new ideas. So if there's like a certain word that's very heavily associated in the LoRa, the clip might make more of a difference. But sometimes not even every LoRa will actually even adjust the clip. So this may or may not make a difference. And sometimes when you're loading multiple LoRa's, like if you have a custom node, like we're doing them separately with the base node, but there are custom nodes that will allow you to put multiple LoRa's in one, and sometimes they won't even display the clip. You're only going to be adjusting the strength model. But these are pretty good because it gives you full control over the LoRa as you load it. And then the other thing we can do is we can modify the text in here to adjust the weight of the trigger word. So like if I highlight this Studio Ghibli Dark Fairy Tale and I hold down Control or Command on Mac and I hit the arrow key, I can raise it up for up arrow or down for down arrow, and that's going to change the weight of just this section of the prompt. So that's really useful, and honestly it's useful even outside of LoRa's in that like I can take this forest, raise the weight, or of course I could do it manually with the parentheses colon number parentheses. But that's a useful trick to adjust the weight of the LoRa's. And with that, you pretty much have everything you need to know to start using some LoRa's and having fun with experimenting with that in ComfyUI. So I hope this was helpful to you guys. Any comments or questions, please let me know below. And I'm excited for our next video. We're probably going to be going over this K sampler right here and what all of these things do, because there's a lot of features in there. And as always, have a great day. See you guys around.